Longilos might do this, and Longilos might do that, but I long for my ex-wife to take me back. Also, I might sound a little bit weird this video because I'm a wee bit sick. Vast and mighty and terrible, a Longilo is taller than a double-decker bus and wider than it is tall. They look a bit like bison with thick fur and the shapes of their heads, but they are also incredibly long and have dozens of legs. From afar, a Longilo might look like it's snaking over the landscape, like a centipede, except that its legs come out from under it. These legs are also thick, stumpy and strong, like those of elephants, to support their weight. Their legs are also flexible and end in hard hooves, so that they may kick their problems into oblivion, like Jackie Chan. Perhaps if I had legs so mighty they could support the weight of my crushing sadness. As you might expect from the bovine appearance, Longilos are herbivores, eaters of plants. They are also extremely chill and will let smaller animals, which is almost all animals and includes humans, ride on their backs. Telling a wild Longilo where to go once you're on it is about as likely to work as shooting guns into the sky as to blow up the sun. Trust me, I've tried. But there are domesticated Longilos who don't mind being told what to do. Despite this, they have a trait that is very unusual among plant-eating animals: front-facing eyes. This gives them excellent depth perception, which is useful when moving through avalanches and fighting. Speaking of fighting, Longilos are slower than the things that hunt them, though they are still faster than humans. This usually forces them to fight back if attacked, which is some of why they usually live in herds. Remember kids, gang violence solves problems. In order to make their gang violence even more effective, they have massive horns, shaped like trees or deer antlers. This way a single Longilo can shish kebab a predator dozens of times at the same time. These horns also have inward-facing serrations, so their horns rip apart flesh and saw through bone as the Longilo pulls them out of anything, just to make sure it dies and stays dead. These horns are not perfect though, as they can get tangled in tree branches. It is also easy for predators to hide among trees, so Longilos don't like walking through forests. They prefer wide open areas where it is easy to spot approaching predators, such as plains, mountains, and the most beautiful of all of nature's creations, my mate Larry's bold-ass head. Longilo fur and skin are pretty protective, but usually aren't enough to stop the animals that hunt them, or other Longilos. Longilo fights are normally just them playing, where they lock their horns together and wrestle each other, but there are recorded cases of them fighting to the death. Longilos are pretty intelligent and have their own personalities, so reasons for fighting each other can vary, but it is usually either the fault of humans who make them develop weird behaviours by hunting and taming them, or the feral plague, which makes anything it infects into a vicious murdering machine. As temperatures and air moisture change, a Longilo will shed their fur and rapidly grow a new set, better suited for their current environment. Hot, cold, wet, dry, a single shedding of fur and an uncomfortable few minutes to an hour of boldness while a new set grows in later, and the Longilo is doing fine. Their fur is very scratchy, so clothes made from it are very uncomfortable, like bumping into my ex while shopping, and their fur rots after being shed, so clothes made from it don't last very long, like my marriage. The Eternal March is an army that uses domesticated Longilos to become capable of marching non-stop. They use Longilo fur clothing as a way to punish disobedient soldiers. Wearing Longilo fur clothing without anything underneath can cause extreme itchiness, acne, and allergic reactions. The reason Longilos make it possible for the Eternal March to move non-stop is that Longilos do not need sleep or rest. They also pour food and water directly into the mouths of the Longilos, so they do not need to stop to drink or eat either. There isn't enough room on the Longilos or the carriages pulled by them for all of the soldiers at the same time, so an average soldier in the Eternal March has to walk for 12 hours every day, not including the fact that they usually have to jog some of that. Not needing to sleep helps Longilos avoid being taken by surprise by predators, and avoid being tracked down by predators that have faster walking and running speeds but need to take breaks. By the way, free cookies for anyone who can comment why the Eternal March is called the Eternal March. Like and subscribe while you're at it. Now, my beautiful disciples, we talk of the smell of the Longilo. I hope that your love of Longilos is strong enough that it will not waver in the face of this information, but Longilos smell absolutely horrid. Their sweat contains chemicals found in urine, so on top of a nasty musk, every Longilo smells like the back alley of a pub, bar if you're American, on a Friday night. If there is a massive army of people who can sleep on these creatures every night, then I'm sure you can overlook it as well. Speaking of things that stink, or would if our useless arse noses knew how to do their jobs, poisons. If it's a plant, a Longilo will probably be fine after eating it, regardless of how toxic it is. There are exceptions to this, but Longilos possess an excellent sense of smell that lets them know what is safe to eat. Perhaps if my nose were so talented, my ex-wife wouldn't have come so close to killing me last Friday. Also, Longilos eat a lot, but surprisingly little for how big they are. On the note of death, Longilos cannot die of old age. A Longilo reaches physical maturity in its 40s or 50s, and then slowly declines into elderliness up to 300 years old, and then just stops aging. This is kind of like if people just became immortal when they turned 65, so they don't have eternal youth but can still live forever. I'd make a joke about the Queen of England, but I'm still mourning her passing. Or Hollywood, but I don't want to be killed and used as a sacrifice in one of their satanic rituals. As far as anyone is aware, the oldest Longilo is about 2,000 years old. It likes watching battles and isn't part of any herd. Some people think it's the agent of a god who sees through its eyes to know which soldiers die fighting with honor and which ones die running like cowards. Others reckon that it just dislikes humans, possibly because its herd was hunted by humans, and so it likes watching people kill each other. Yes, there are people who hunt Longilos. Hunting a Longilo requires hundreds of people working together, and even then this is usually unsuccessful. Since Longilos are massive creatures with massive horns and massive legs that they can kick things with, this will normally also end in a few dozen dead humans, whether or not the hunt is a success. A Longilo's corpse is extremely valuable. As well as their meat, Longilos have strong bones and horns that can be made into tools and weapons, while their skin can be made into strong armor and shields. Various parts of their body can be turned into medicine and drugs. Also, their meat contains natural steroids, so people who eat Longilo meat will have an easy time growing stronger. Outside of hunting them, another reason to attack one is to keep it away from farmland. Unlike hunting them, this doesn't usually result in the Longilo killing anyone, because they are pretty good at telling the difference between people trying to kill them and people just trying to get them to go away. If a Longilo is surrounded or continually pursued by people riding animals faster than itself, it will probably assume that it is being hunted and get homicidal. Within Lamara, a country where a lot of Longilos live, killing them is illegal since they are considered holy animals. This country is also home to that army that uses Longilos for non-stop movement, and letting people get practice at killing the animals of one of your most important armies is a bad idea. The Longilos that army used to belong to a tribe called the Longilo tribe. This tribe was defeated and conquered by the Chrysa Empire, which turned them and their Longilos into a taxi service to carry soldiers and materials to and from the front lines of its conquests. As the Longilos of this tribe got tamer, it became possible to make them wear saddles that wrapped around their bodies and could have buildings attached to them, as well as get the Longilos to pull trains of carriages. These Longilo buildings and carriages were designed so that the Longilos became mobile fortresses, which were used directly in battles rather than just bringing soldiers to them. An army, known as the Eternal March, was built around these mobile fortresses, and to this day the descendants of this tribe still command the Longilos for this army. It is partially because of them that the Chrysa Empire rules the entirety of Lamara. Outside of the unstopping army that makes the ground shake as it moves and makes whole armies drop their weapons and run when they hear its approach, domesticated Longilos are sometimes used for travel. They're not popular with nobles and other rich people who prefer faster and less smelly animals, but a train of Longilo pulled carriages can be great for transporting loads of people and goods. Even domesticated Longilos are difficult to control because of how clever and willful they are. So most people who command them are raised into the trade, and have known the Longilos they command since they were children. On that note, this is the end of the video. Comment how many IRS offices you would destroy if you had a Longilo companion, like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you disliked it, and subscribe if you want to be notified of more videos like it in the future. Goodbye, you filth.
See you later, stinky.